Remember the absolute heartbreak of that 2024 NFC divisional round loss to the Eagles? Our run defense was completely exposed. It felt like a gaping wound right in the heart of our defense, and we all knew something drastic had to change in the trenches. Well, Les Snead and Sean McVay went to work last offseason and quieted the doubters by making one of the most underrated, high-impact free agency signings in recent Rams history. This guy didn't get the massive national headlines, but he came into Los Angeles with one single mission: plug the gap and restore our pride. Today we are breaking down how this unsung hero completely transformed our front line. Before we dive into the tape, I want to thank you all for the incredible support. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help us hit our goal of 2,000 subscribers, and let me know in the comments, who is your favorite Rams defensive lineman of all time? Let's ram it. I am talking about none other than the powerhouse himself, Poona Ford. Let's be honest, when the Rams signed Poona last offseason, the mission was incredibly specific. We didn't need a flashy edge rusher, we needed a human brick wall to anchor the middle of that line. And let me tell you, Poona did exactly that and then some. Looking back at his 2025 season review, the numbers are absolutely staggering, the kind of stats that make defensive coordinators drool. Poona Ford established himself as the fourth best run-stopping defensive lineman in the entire National Football League. He finished the year with an elite 78.7 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus, ranking fourth overall. But it gets even better. My sources close to the analytics department tell me his run-stop rate was a mind-blowing 11.6%, which ranked second among all interior defensive linemen. Let that sink in for a second. With Poona commanding the absolute center of our defense, the Rams skyrocketed to fifth in run defense DVOA. He brought back that physical, blue-collar toughness that defines the best defenses in Rams history. He was the anchor we desperately needed, transforming a glaring weakness into a legitimate, terrifying strength. While he wasn't brought in to be a primary pass rusher, he still chipped in with 2 massive sacks. He did exactly what the coaching staff asked him to do, sacrificing his body on every single snap to make sure opposing running backs had nowhere to run. That is the definition of a team-first player, a true locker room warrior who embraced his role and executed it to absolute perfection. He didn't complain, he didn't seek the spotlight, he just went to work every single Sunday and dominated the trenches. Now, let's go to the tape, because the film does not lie. When you turn on the screen and look at the first critical play, you realize Poona Ford might have been the most important player on the entire Rams defensive line last season. That is not hyperbole. While he was signed specifically to cure our run defense Achilles heel, he gave us an unexpected, massive boost in the passing game. Poona generated 30 pressures last year, his highest mark since 2021. And here is the absolute kicker. He did it in almost half as many pass rush snaps. That is elite efficiency. Watch this right here on the screen. He completely overpowers the center, gets his hands inside, and collapses the pocket. Think about that transition for a moment. You think you're just getting a run stuffer, and suddenly he's collapsing the pocket from the interior. Play number 2 highlights this exact pass rushing impact. We saw him consistently harass quarterbacks, culminating in 30 pressures and 2 sacks. But none was bigger than his monumental sack against the Seattle Seahawks in Week 16. That single play forced overtime and completely changed the momentum of our playoff push. When you consider that his primary responsibility was to clog the A-gap, any pass rush production was an absolute luxury, a golden bonus for Sean McVay's defense. It shows his relentless motor. He never quits on a play. Just when opposing offensive coordinators thought they could slide protection away from him, Poona would burst through the middle and disrupt the entire game plan. It's that kind of quiet dominance that doesn't always make the highlight reels on national television, but it's exactly what wins championships. Let that sink in as we transition to how he absolutely demolished opponents in the run game. Now, let's look at play number 3 on the tape, because this is where Poona Ford truly made his money. This is his bread and butter, his calling card. The run game is where he had the most devastating impact on opposing offenses. Throughout the entire season, he made his massive presence felt, but he saved some of his absolute best work for when the lights shone the brightest. During the playoffs, Poona put on an absolute clinic, delivering 2 of his best games of the entire year. Against the Bears especially, he was a one-man wrecking crew. He was consistently penetrating deep upfield, blowing up blocking schemes before they could even develop, and bringing down ball carriers deep in the backfield. He wasn't just taking up space, he was actively destroying game plans. Every time they tried to run up the gut, Poona was there, waiting. When you watch him on film, his leverage is perfect. He gets under the pads of opposing offensive linemen, drives them back, and completely shuts down the running lanes. He single-handedly forced teams to abandon their ground attack and try to beat us through the air, which played right into our defensive scheme. It was pure defensive mastery. As an insider, when you talk to scouts around the league, they will tell you that finding an interior lineman who can consistently anchor and penetrate like Poona did during those high-stakes playoff games is incredibly rare. He became the emotional heartbeat of that defensive front, a player whose physical effort inspired everyone around him to play harder. He played with a chip on his shoulder, proving to the entire league that he is still one of the most feared run defenders in football. But as we look ahead, we have to ask the hard, realistic questions. How long can Poona Ford continue to perform at this incredibly elite level? Look, he isn't old by any stretch of the imagination, but he did just surpass that crucial age 30 milestone. The Rams represent his fourth NFL team, and he plays an incredibly punishing, physically demanding role. Towards the back half of last season, we did see a slight dip in his overall level of play, which is entirely natural given the absolute grind of an NFL season. If the Rams want to maximize his impact and protect their investment, keeping him fresh throughout the grueling season must be the top priority. The good news is that there won't be any dramatic roster battles for Poona heading into 2026. He is locked in. However, the Rams do have some intriguing young depth behind him. We have guys like Ty Davis, Ty Hamilton, and Tim Keenan III who can step up and take some of those high-intensity snaps. Rotating these younger players in more frequently is going to be crucial to keeping Poona's legs fresh for the postseason run. By allowing Hamilton and Davis to share the load, the coaching staff can ensure that when Poona is on the field, he is playing at 100% capacity. It's a chess match, and keeping our star run stuffer healthy and energized is the key to maintaining a top-5 defensive front. We need him at his absolute best when January football rolls around. Heading into the 2026 season, Poona Ford's role is incredibly clear. He will once again be asked to be the primary run stopper right in the middle of our defensive line. The coaching staff is going to expect him to be just as effective, if not more, as he was last year. While we will certainly see more of a rotation with Hamilton and Davis to preserve his longevity, make no mistake about it, Poona is still the main guy in the middle. When it comes to his chances of making the final 53-man roster, there is absolutely zero drama here. It is a locked-in, undeniable 10 out of 10. He was one of the most vital, irreplaceable players on our entire defensive line last season, and the front office expects him to have an equally massive impact in 2026. This team has championship aspirations, and you cannot win a Super Bowl without a dominant interior presence. Poona Ford represents the grit, the hunger, and the relentless work ethic of this Los Angeles Rams squad. He is the unsung hero who does the dirty work so our playmakers can shine. When the stadium lights turn on and the ground starts to shake, he will be there, anchoring our dreams. As we gear up for another thrilling season, we can rest easy, knowing we have a literal giant protecting the middle of our defense. He proved the doubters wrong last year, and he is ready to do it all over again. Keep your eyes on him because he is ready to dominate the trenches once again and lead us back to glory. Ram it!